Hello, my dear listeners, and welcome back to the Kapeel Gupta Career PodShow. And today, I want you to imagine a student who loves physics, enjoys maths, and keeps an eye on the stock market and secretly wonders, can I build a career where equations meet economics? Now, most people would tell that student to choose one lane: physics or finance, science or money, research or markets. But there is a fascinating career path that lives right in the middle of all this. It is called Econophysics. An econophysicist studies economics and financial systems using tools borrowed from physics, especially statistical physics, probability, complex systems, and data modeling. Ecole Polytechnique describes econophysics as approaching economics with methods derived from the natural sciences, and Leiden University's Econophysics course shows the field working with probability theory, statistical physics, and financial time series. In simple words, an econophysicist tries to understand markets the way a physicist studies particles, flows, networks, and patterns. And now, just picture this. A market crash happens. Most people see panic. An econophysicist sees interacting agents, feedback loops, herd behavior, volatility clustering, and a system under stress. A regular person says, the market is acting mad. And the econophysicist says, interesting, let us model the madness. And that is why this career is so exciting for Gen Z students who do not want an ordinary job title. It is a career for people who enjoy patterns, numbers, uncertainty, and big real world questions. So, hello all. I'm Kapeel Gupta, career coach, life mentor, and founder of Study Abroad Academy. I empower students, parents, and conscious professionals to design a fulfilling life and career by aligning their minds, values, and aspirations. I do it with coaching, mindset work, and the game changing power of graphotherapy because students deserve more than just guidance, they deserve transformation. So, let me begin with a story. Just imagine a student named Arjun. In school, he loved mechanics and probability. Later, he also became curious about why stock markets move together, why bubbles form, why people panic sell, and why some financial systems look stable until suddenly they do not. A normal economics class gave him one angle. A normal physics class gave him another. But econophysics, it gave him a bridge. And sometimes, dear listeners, your dream career is not hiding in a single subject, it is hiding in the overlap between two subjects. So let us be honest first. Econophysicist is still a niche title. You'll not see 10,000 job ads using that exact word. But the work absolutely exists. The job market usually names it differently: quantitative researcher, financial modeler, risk analyst, complexity researcher, algorithmic trading researcher, data scientist, policy modeler, network scientist, or quantitative economist. Now, that is why students should focus less on the label and more on the skill stack behind the label. In India, the scope is real and growing because the country's startup, fintech, analytics, and capital market ecosystem is growing fast. PIB said in Jan 2026 that India had over 2 lakh DPIIT recognized startups by December 2025, with around 50% coming from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Invest India says India's fintech adoption is about 87%, and it highlights very large UPI volumes in a sector projected to scale sharply by 2030. On the market side, NSE calls itself the world's leading derivatives exchange and says its technology infrastructure can handle up to 300,000 transactions per second, while also positioning itself as a gateway to a global career. For a future econophysicist, that means India is no longer a small market story. It is a giant, data rich lab of payments, trading, risk, behavior, and network effects. India has also intellectual roots in this area. The Indian Statistical Institute offers rigorous postgraduate training in quantitative economics, statistics, mathematics, and operations research, which are exactly the kind of disciplines econophysicists build on. At IIMS Chennai, Professor Sitabhra Sinha lists statistical mechanics and applications to social and economic phenomena among his research interests, and his page even includes the book Econophysics, an introduction. So, India may not always brand the path loudly, but the research DNA is present. Abroad, the field is more visible. Ecole Polytechnic's Econophysics and Complex Systems Chair was created in 2018. By 2024, the team had grown from 2 to 25 people and trained more than 80 visiting students and young researchers. The same page says opportunities for students in this discipline include finance, new technologies, economic policy, and scientific research, with alumni moving into places like BNP Paribas, Quant AI, CFM, and public institutions. Utrecht University's Centre for Complex System Studies and the University of Sydney's Master of Complex Systems both show how strongly the world is investing in quantitative modelling of socio-economic system. So the scope is broad. In India, you could end up in quant finance, fintech, risk, policy analytics, data science, or academic research. Abroad, you can add hedge funds, research labs, complexity institutes, macro finance groups, public policy modeling, and doctoral research to that list. The field is small in name, but wide in possibility. So now, let us make this feel real. What does an econophysicist actually do all day? In practice, he studies systems with many interacting parts: traders, banks, firms, households, assets, networks, payment flows, defaults, or even social behavior around money. Ecole Polytechnique says the field studies aggregated behavior with interactions, heterogeneities, and feedback loops. Leiden's course covers things like financial time series, empirical behavior versus the random walk model, and probability tools. The University of Thessaly's Econophysics curriculum includes mathematical methods, statistical physics, and thermodynamics approaches to the economy, stock markets, derivatives, and research methodology. From those three sources, you can already see the daily work: data, models, uncertainty, coding, and systems thinking. So, a typical workday may involve cleaning market or economic data, writing code in Python or R, testing whether a model explains price movements, studying contagion in a financial network, estimating risk under stress, simulating how agents behave under different rules, or building dashboards for a fund, a fintech firm, or a research lab. In academic settings, the work leans more toward publishing papers, proving results, running simulations, and presenting findings. In industry, the same mindset may be used to design trading signals, improve risk systems, detect anomalies, and forecast instability or study consumer and payment behavior. Now, that is partly an inference from the official course content and research descriptions, but it is a very grounded one. The work environment also varies. One econophysicist may sit in a university office with whiteboards full of equations. Another may sit in a quant team inside a hedge fund. Another may work in a fintech company, a central bank adjacent research setup, or a data science unit studying economic systems. Now, this is not a career where you only stare at charts all day. It is a career where you ask, what hidden structure is shaping this behavior? Now, that question can apply to stock markets, digital payments, inflation linked behavior, supply chains, or even social cooperation. So now comes the important student question. How do you become one? So the honest answer is that most people do not study a standard degree called BTech in Econophysics. They usually build this career through a strong base in physics, mathematics, statistics, computer science, economics, or engineering, and then specialize through master's level work, research, quantitative finance, or complexity science. Now, Leiden's Econophysics course says proficiency in statistical physics and probability theory helps a lot. The University of Sydney says its complex systems program builds expertise in quantitative modeling and computational simulation. ISI's postgraduate offerings provide rigorous training in statistics, mathematics, quantitative economics, and operations research. Put all that together, and the core skill set becomes clear: calculus, linear algebra, probability, stochastic processes, statistics, programming, data analysis, modeling, and the ability to think across disciplines. You also need strong coding. Python is almost a basic survival skill here. R helps, SQL helps. If you move into high end quant finance, C++ may become useful. And then comes economics and finance literacy, market microstructure, econometrics, derivatives, macroeconomics, behavioral systems, and network thinking. And one more skill that students often ignore: communication. If you build a brilliant model but cannot explain it to a trader, policymaker, founder, professor, or client, your value gets reduced. As for educational qualifications, a very strong path in India would be something like this. After class 12 with PCM, you can pursue a quantitative undergrad route. IIT Kanpur's Economic Sciences program is highly quantitative and does not require prior economics knowledge. Ahmedabad University has a BSc in physics plus MS in quantitative finance pathway, which is unusually well aligned for this career. Pondicherry University offers an MSc in quantitative finance, blending finance, economics, statistics, computer science, and market certifications. ISI Kolkata is one of the strongest places in India for MStat, MMath, MS in quantitative economics, and doctoral research in quantitative areas. So, if your goal is more research heavy, ISEs and IMSEs are also excellent long term bases through physics, maths, systems, and interdisciplinary research. Abroad, a few names stand out for direct relevance. University of Thessaly runs a postgraduate program in econophysics with coursework in mathematical tools, thermodynamic approaches to the economy, stock markets, and derivatives. Leiden University offers an official econophysics course. Ecole Polytechnic has the Econophysics and Complex System Chair, which is one of the most visible hubs in the field. Utrecht University offers complexity education through a bachelor's minor, master's profile, and a summer school. University of Sydney offers Master of Complex Systems focused on resilient socio-economic and socio-ecological systems. Now, these are not all identical, but they are all highly relevant stepping stones. And one more truth for students: if you want to become a true econophysicist, a master's degree is often helpful, and a PhD can be a major advantage, and especially for research heavy roles. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics notes that economists typically need at least a master's degree, and some roles need a PhD. For econophysics, that is often even more relevant because the work can be mathematically intense and research driven. So, now let us talk about money, because the title econophysicist is niche. salary platforms do not track it neatly. So, the most honest way to answer this is to use the closest market benchmarks: quantitative researcher, financial analyst, financial risk specialist, and economist. In India, Glassdoor shows an average salary of about 43 lakhs per year for a quantitative researcher, with a typical reported range of roughly 32 to 78.5 lakhs as of March 2026. Now, that is very high, but please hear me carefully. This reflects elite quanti style roles and not what every beginner in analytics, research, or academia will learn. Entry level analyst, research assistant, policy, and academic track roles can be much lower. Still, it tells you the upside can be serious if you build the right quantitative edge. In the United States, the BLS reports a median average salary of around $100,000 for financial investment analyst, $106,000 for financial risk specialist, and around $115,000 for economists in May 2024. On the more elite side, Glassdoor reports an average of about $315,000 for US quantitative researchers in March 2026, which again signals the very high ceiling in top quant finance roles. In the UK, Glassdoor reports about £160,000 for quantitative researcher. In Singapore, it reports about 285,000 Singapore dollars. In Canada, around 100,000 Canadian dollars. In Frankfurt, Germany, around 87,000 euros. Now, these numbers vary by firm, city, asset class, and experience, but they make one thing clear. If you combine physics level quantitative thinking with finance, economics, and coding, the global market can pay extremely well. So, yes, this can be a financially rewarding career, but it rewards depth, no shortcuts. This is not a watch to trading reels and become rich by Tuesday path. This is a build mathematical maturity, coding strength, market understanding, and research stamina path. So, what you should remember from today's episode: an econophysicist is a rare kind of thinker. Someone who can look at an economy, a market, or a network and say, this is a complex system. Let us study it properly. It is a career for students who love maths but also want real world impact. For those who enjoy patterns, uncertainty, data, and deep thinking. For those who do not want to choose between physics and finance, between research and relevance, and between science and society. If you are a Gen Z student listening to this and thinking, this sounds like me, then do not worry that the title is uncommon. Many of the best careers are uncommon before they become valuable. Focus on the foundation. Build your math, strengthen your coding, learn probability, understand economics, study markets, read papers, do projects, and slowly you'll not just be preparing for a job, you'll be preparing for a field that sits at the edge of the future. So here is my closing line for you today. Do not just ask, what job should I do? Ask, what problems do I want to understand so deeply that the world will pay me to solve them? So if this episode on Econophysicist opened your mind to a career you had never even considered before, imagine how many more possibilities may be waiting for you. But the truth is, the right career is not found by chance. It is found through clarity. If you're confused about your career path, subject choices, college decisions, or your future direction, connect with me from a career counseling program. I help students understand their true strengths, discover the right fit careers, and move forward with confidence. So do not leave your future to guesswork. Message me today and let us find the career path that is truly meant for you.